Well, hi, this is Jay Arthur, author of Lean Six Sigma Demystified and the QI Macros. In the last video, I mentioned this new Harvard Business Review article about Agile at scale, and let me give you a little mini book report on this. Now, one of the things it says in here is traditional top-down management is no longer effective in a fast-moving, globalized world. Top-down management is no longer effective in a fast-moving world. Well, what's our number one premise in Six Sigma? Well, you have to get top leadership commitment. BS, all right? So, let's talk about Agile just a little bit. Agile teams are best suited to innovation, the profitable application of creativity to improve products and services or business models. They're small and multidisciplinary. If you think about it, Agile has a kind of a modular approach. It breaks things down into little pieces so that you can move forward. So we don't need a giant Six Sigma team. We need to focus on individual things that are broken and fix them. So how do you know if you should launch an Agile team? Well, it has to be ready. And this article says readiness means that it's focused on a major business opportunity with a lot at stake. This means you're not moving deck chairs around on the Titanic, right? Start with the worst first and go from there. They're responsible for specific outcomes. They are trusted to work autonomously, right? They don't need a lot of people running around telling them what to do. They're committed to applying Agile values, principles, and practices. And these are pretty easy to adapt from the Agile Manifesto. And what else? They're empowered to collaborate closely with customers. Right? If we don't collaborate with the people we're serving, then we're going to end up with things that don't meet their needs. And it's supported by senior executives who will address impediments and drive adoption of the team's work. Well, that's always a problem, right? And as it says in here, as with any change, skeptics can and will produce all kinds of antibodies that attack the Agile, ranging from refusals to operate on an Agile timetable to withholding funds from big opportunities. So there's going to be curmudgeons. You're going to be in a fight to stay the same when you should be going faster. All right? So there's an example in here. Tesla is abandoning their traditional annual release cycle and doing up to 20 engineering changes a week. That's Agile. It also says, this test and learn approach is often described as incremental and iterative, but no one should mistake it for incremental thinking. Often it's done in giant leaps. SpaceX aims to use Agile innovation to begin transporting people to Mars by 2024. People on Mars, 2024. That's what they're thinking about. Do they know how they're going to get there? No, but they figure they're going to Agile their way to get there. So Agile begins with big ambitions and step-by-step progress. So this is where the world is going. This is where the leadership is thinking, is how do we get more Agile? How do we get faster? How do we get what we want? And I'm telling you, traditional Six Sigma thinking, it is dead. And we're going to be in trouble if we don't grasp this and go forward. I think I mentioned in another video that I saw a presentation from Christus Health, and they started off trying to do green belt training, but they weren't quite getting the results out of it they were hoping for. And they went to a one-day yellow belt training, and the yellow belts would actually solve problems in the day that they were learning things. Well, this is how I teach Six Sigma in one-day increments, right? And so just one day, right? Let's go solve some problems in one day. How do we do that? And I've gotten pretty efficient at it. But anyway, so the Christus Health folks started training yellow belts, and the yellow belts would make immediate improvements in how their hospitals operated. Everything from, bringing in supplies to accounting to clinical care to everything else. And they started seeing immediate results. And those people that were in the yellow belt training also figured out ways to do bigger things, more cross-functional things that would actually start to accelerate all kinds of changes across the organization, connect up everything from the emergency room through discharge. this is what can happen if you take an agile mindset, right? Small, quick changes that cumulatively add up into a big pile of really good stuff that leads you to the point where it's more effective. So I'm Jay Arthur. That's my improvement insight for this week.